On this video, I'm going to share with you the no bullshit guide to anxiety recovery, what you can do to overcome anxiety naturally, and how I did it myself after struggling with anxiety for 3 to 4 years and now being anxiety free for 7 years. I've learned a lot of stuff also from coaching other people. So let's dive into it. The most important thing is having a mental understanding of anxiety. So most people with anxiety, they don't really understand that it's just anxiety. They don't understand how to go about anxiety recovery either. So they find themselves resisting, fighting, obsessing, and Googling the anxiety symptoms, constantly thinking, am I going insane? This must be something else. Or health anxiety. Many people also have health anxiety where they're obsessed about some symptom. They're like, okay, now I have this health issue and that health issue. Before we dive any further, I want to say it's very wise to go to the doctor to get checked, do some blood work, get anything else ruled out, so you can then rest assured and actually have more peace of mind and understanding that it's just anxiety, because then you can go about recovering from anxiety in the right way, because you know it's just anxiety and not something else. Because if you never get checked and you never rule it out, you'll always have that back thought in your mind. It's like, hey, what if it's not anxiety? And that's the thing. That's one of those things that keeps the condition maintained, right? It's like, what if? You know, that sense of resistance, what you resist persists. You know, if you think about like martial arts, it's like using or Star Wars, like using the force, right? And not fighting, not resisting, you know, going with the flow, being like water, right? And not like standing against the stream of the water. And that's like fighting anxiety. It's like an uphill battle, man. Most people that are trying to fight this condition, they're trying to fight the anxiety. As I said, research, obsess, and it's adding so much resistance. And as Carl Jung said, what you resist persists and may even grow in size. So maybe if your anxiety has been there for a long time, or it's even getting worse or something, it's because you're resisting it, you're fighting it, and you're giving it too much importance and attention, which I honestly understand, because it is very strong, very intense, and it feels very real, right? When you have anxiety, you have these crazy, scary symptoms. It's basically your body in fight or flight. You know, if you have generalized anxiety all the time, if you have a specific subform of anxiety, maybe a social phobia or something, or agoraphobia, or maybe even just a physical symptom without any anxiety. I once had a client, he didn't feel so anxious at all, but he had more like a physical issue, you know, in his shoulder, right? And I guess that's a bit more rare. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee to go from Germany here, from Heitzmann Bakery. Got a lot of black coffee, man. And so, yeah, what you want is a mental understanding. Rule it out. Mental understanding. Okay, all these symptoms I'm experiencing, and there's lots of symptoms. It can be even music playing in your head. It can be intrusive thoughts. It can be heart palpitations. It can be weird sensation here, frequent urination. It can be many different. You know all the symptoms, right? If I were to list them now, I'd need a friggin' list, because they're like, I don't know, 30 symptoms, maybe even more, right? So anyway, the thing you want to understand is that you obsessing about these symptoms is what's making it worse. It's what's maintaining the condition. So what you want to do is you want to stop obsessing, stop Googling, stop researching, and instead begin to accept that the anxiety is here for now. Begin to allow it to be there. Begin to make peace with it, you know. Begin to stop fighting, because fighting so far hasn't yielded any positive results. So I'm inviting you to do the opposite of fighting. I'm inviting you to allow and accept. That is when emotional healing commences, because you're no longer fighting with life. You're no longer fighting with your emotions. You're allowing them to be there, which is what they want. They just want to be seen, felt, and heard. They want to be allowed. Emotion is energy, emotion. It just wants to be felt so that it can leave the body. And feeling is healing. So when you allow, accept the emotion to be there, even if it doesn't feel good, right? Acceptance doesn't mean you feel good. It means you're not fighting and you're okay with it being there, even though it doesn't feel good, even though it's very scary, even though it feels like shit, even though it feels terrible. You just, okay, what other choice do I have but to accept? You know, I've tried fighting it, and fighting it hasn't worked for me. So I'm just going to try this acceptance thing, and I'm going to try to stop Googling symptoms, and when it arises, to accept it, but also keep myself busy and keep myself engaged in life as though I were anxiety free. So what would the anxiety free version of yourself do? They would probably leave the house more frequently. They would probably pursue some new goals in their career, business, you know. They would maybe travel, they would do many things, you know. I cannot speak for you because I'm not talking to you personally, but I'd ask you, what would you do if you didn't have anxiety? What would your ideal day look like? If anything was possible, what would be your ideal life? Like, you can choose, right? You can do anything. What would that look like for you? And then I encourage you to step into that version of yourself, you know, to start doing things that are in alignment with the non-anxious version of you. Because there's fundamentally two ways to change yourself, your self-image, your life, whatever you want to call it. I learned this from Tony Robbins, his popular book, Awaken the Giant Within. He says there's two ways to change your life or your mindset or something like that. He, by the way, says success is 80% psychology, 20% tactics, you know. So that's why it's so important to talk about this mindset stuff, because it's fundamentally a change in mindset. It's just a change in awareness, a change in mindset shift. It's like, okay, I've been doing it wrong and now I need to do it differently. So anyway, what you want to do is you want to stop fighting the anxiety, allow it to be there, no longer giving it too much importance. There's an interesting book called Reality Transurfing, which is a very deep book, which discusses the idea of choosing your reality, of reality creation. And it talks about giving too much importance. It's one of the key principles. It's like excess potential. So if you give something too much importance, you're like blocking that. So let's take the example of dating. Let's say you're texting with a woman or something and you find her really attractive or whatever you're into, and you know they don't respond immediately, and then you like double text and it's like, you know, you're being all needy and resistance about it, you know, then it usually doesn't work out, right? But whereas if you don't actually care too much, you're like carefree, just having fun, then it happens somehow naturally, right? Without force. So the same can be said of anxiety and all these things. So you don't actually have to micromanage your anxiety recovery or figure out individual symptoms or why this is here. You just want to view it as all as part of the anxiety. Like any symptom, I wake up with anxiety, I wake up with depression, you know, just get out of bed, like just move, just do a morning routine consisting of meditation. If you want to have a meditation, guided meditation, DM me on Instagram, say YouTube meditation or something. I'll send you a guided meditation for anxiety recovery that has helped many people. You can do that first thing when you wake up, like don't check your phone or keep it on airplane mode, meditate, write down in your journal 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. Write down a goal, one thing, the most important thing, one thing you can do today to move you in the direction of your ideal life. Maybe it can just be, I'm leaving the house, I'm meeting a friend. Maybe it's like, I don't know, I'm doing a call, I'm calling a potential customer, or I'm recording a video or something. Some activity that moves the needle forward in your life. What is that one thing, the most important thing? And you just go for it, you know? And you feel the fear and you do it anyway. You face your fears. You start living as though you're anxiety free. And you go for it. You keep yourself busy. Maybe join a social club. I myself recently went through a kind of experience where I went through a breakup just like in December or something. And I was spending most of my time with my partner, not really socializing, doing anything. So there was like comfort zone there. And now since a few months, like it's been a bit weird because there's been a lot of free time. Well, not free time, time freed up. And I wasn't really socializing. I wasn't meeting any friends, you know. So now I'm in this weird spot myself where I'm like, I don't know, sometimes I feel lonely and stuff. Like, and so I'm even contemplating myself right now to go play tennis or something because I enjoy tennis. So I'm going to join a tennis club, for example. So what is something you can do, an extracurricular activity or something that can fill up your time in your free time, that can make you be around other people, meet new people, you know, engage in life, be out there. And cool things can come from that, you know. Nothing good is ever going to come from being locked home. And even if the anxiety is there, it's like telling you not to leave your home. It's telling you to stay at home, like something bad's gonna happen, I'm just gonna embarrass myself, I'm just gonna freak out. Like, well, even if you feel that way, it doesn't matter, my friend, because anxiety is lying to you in a way. Anxiety is telling you all these limitations, like you can't do this, you can't do that. If you do this, this is gonna happen. But it's lying, because if you actually stop listening to this voice and you start ignoring it, you start facing fear, doing things that you would if you didn't have anxiety, then you'll notice over time yourself improving and feeling better and not feeling as anxious anymore. And sure, this is also something that catches people off guard, which is setbacks. There may be many setbacks on this journey, which are like, yeah, setbacks. Obviously, they're like, I was looking for another word for setbacks, but I couldn't think of it. So it's like setbacks, it's like, boom, you make some forward progress. Yeah, I face the fear, or I feel less anxious. I feel a lot more positive. And then suddenly it comes back like full force. It feels like you've lost all your progress. And suddenly you're like, what the F, man? Like, I thought I was getting better. Why do I feel this way? And that's not a sign to retreat. That's actually a sign of progress, my friend, that you've been better, that you've been feeling better. Otherwise, you couldn't even notice the setback. The setback is an indication of progress, because it shows that you've been feeling better, because otherwise you wouldn't have that contrast experience of a setback. So see setbacks as normal when they arise. Don't expect them to happen. Who knows when you'll recover? You could recover in a day from now. You could recover 7 days from now. You could recover in a month, maybe half a year, maybe a year, maybe two. It doesn't really matter, right? You want to let go of the goal. Let's not say let go of the goal, but let's say you want to let go of the time of when it will happen. It's also a common question, like people have. It's like, oh, I've been doing this anxiety recovery stuff, and now I don't still feel the same. It's like, yeah, be patient, my friend. Be patient. It took a while for anxiety to come, and it may take a while for anxiety to leave. Be patient and do the right things imperfectly. That's why one of the pillars I teach is imperfect action. Because you're not going to be perfect with this. Like, you may face some fear, freak out, go back home. That's okay. You showed up, you won. You may not always perfectly implement acceptance. It's not about being perfect. It's just about making progress. Like, even just a tiny. That's why I said, like, in that journal, for example, you can have that one goal. Like, what's my one thing today that I'm going to do? And maybe if you have a particular terrible day, it can just be like, that day is like, okay, today is like, I'm just going to chill. I'm going to have a chill day. Might watch a movie or binge some series, and I'll just have a chill day. But obviously, don't do that every single day, right? You want to make sure that more often than not, you're making some kind of forward progress, which doesn't have to be huge. Like, you don't have to climb Mount Everest in a day or something. It can just be like small things, like going to an event, meeting up with a friend, doing a call, starting this project, reading this book, listening to this podcast. And I would also recommend to reduce like the short form content and the constant like being on watching reels and shorts and stuff like that, and TikTok. I think those are very unhealthy for our brain, and they make us also less happy in our day-to-day life. Coffee's nearly cold. Been talking for 13 minutes. Yeah, when I had anxiety, I used that sense of like feeling. Honestly, I had like also suicidal thoughts at some point when I was like, this life is not worth living in this current state. So I was like, I have to change something, otherwise I don't know what's gonna happen. So I got into this idea of using that immense suffering to move myself forward. It became my why. I think a lot of times it's good to have a great why, which seems also like standard personal development advice, like have a why. But it's very true. Like, what's your why, my friend? Like, why do you want to do this thing, which can be challenging to overcome anxiety? Because the only way to recover is to face fear, which is hard because it feels like you're dying sometimes. Like, it's a fight or flight response, right? It's like telling you this is a survival situation, like going to the supermarket. It's like, it feels like you're going to war or something, to a battlefield, or it feels like you're, I don't know, facing a wild animal like saber-toothed tiger. It really feels like that because your brain, it's misfiring in a way. Your nervous system is out of balance. So it's like misinterpreting everything. And it's adding so much anxiety to things that are not like really that anxiety inducing usually, right? So I have much respect to anyone who does this because it's not easy. It requires courage to do it. So yeah, that's why I say it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because you will not want to go there and face it, but that's the way to do it, you know? It's like short-term sacrifice for midterm. Usually they say short-term sacrifice, long-term reward, but it's not about long-term. It's not the long-term thing. I'm not talking like meds and therapy where people maybe have it for decades or something. I've helped people overcome anxiety that had it for decades. Imagine it. And they were just on pills, tried therapy, it didn't work for them. And now, help them. Now they feel a lot better or even overcome it. And in a relatively short time. So that's why I say midterm. Because you want to let go of that short term, like, oh, today my symptom is this, and then it doesn't matter. It's just anxiety, and as you accept it, the anxiety will pass and will get better. And even me, I'm facing fear. I'm sitting here on this bench where like people walk past with their dogs, you know. Just to me is awkward because it's just freaking weird. I have this phone on a stand here, and it probably looks super random. But whatever, you just got to do it, right? It makes me have this cool like nature background video with like cool sounds and everything. So yeah, my friend, I'll probably wrap it up right now. And I wanted to say, if you want some help with anxiety, you can visit my website, andykloss.com. You can schedule a free call there. See if it's a good fit for us to work together. I've helped a bunch of people overcome anxiety. I'll also link this somewhere below in the description. And then I'll see you there, my friend. Have a great day.